Alright, so, Chapter 6. Over Hill and Under Hill. Not Chapter 6, Chapter 4. Excuse me, I kind of screwed that up. Not that far yet. We're getting there. They have now left Rivendell and are going up the Misty Mountains to go to the other side. Now, while they are there, they get caught up in a storm. They were high up in a narrow place, with a dreadful fall into a dim valley at one side of them. There they were sheltering under a hanging rock for the night, and he lay beneath a blanket and shook from head to toe. When he peeped out in the lightning flashes, he saw that across the valley the stone giants were out, and were hurling rocks at one another for a gain, and catching them and tossing them down into the darkness, where they smashed on the trees far below, or splintered into little bits with a bang. In the Peter Jackson film, that you do see these stone giant things doing such a thing. And a little bit before this, it mentions giants as well. So it makes you wonder if these are actual, really giants that are fighting each other during the storm, or this is just a way of describing the thunderstorm itself. I've always thought of as these actual being, actual giants. Tolkien had written somewhere else about a place in Gondor called Tarling's Neck, which Tarling is said to be the name of a giant, and there's a whole story of, how that place is named after it, or whatever. So it does appear that giants do exist in Middle-earth, but we don't see them in the Silmarillion or in the Lord of the Rings itself. So that makes people wonder, is this just a description of what the storm is like? Or were these actual giants in the storm doing this? It appears that it could be either or. I always take it like Peter Jackson did, as actual literal giants. But anyway, Bilbo and Gandalf and the dwarves find a cave. Well, they send Fili and Kili out to go find the cave, and they're like, they don't come back. They come back after not very long, and they're like, okay. So they didn't have much time to check it carefully, which they should have, because as you know, as they are here, Bilbo has a dream of basically a crack open up at the back and then falling in or whatever. And so what happens? He wakes up and the dream is kind of true, but these are the goblins coming in because they're on their front doorstep, and the goblins take them on down to Goblin Town, and there's a little song that they play, or that they sing. And it does say here, if I can find it, so they're taken before the Goblin King. Hammers, axes, swords, daggers, pickaxes, tongs, and also instruments of torture they make very well, or get other people to make to their design, prisoners and slaves that have to work till they die for want of air and light. It is not unlikely that they invented some of the machines that have since troubled the world, especially the ingenious devices for killing large numbers of people at once, for wheels and engines and explosions always delighted them, and also not working with their own hands more than they could help. But in those days, in those wild parts, they had not advanced as it is called so far. This always makes me think of, the modern day here. And, Tolkien being in World War I, he experienced planes being used for the first time, tanks being used for the first time, all these, you had these bombs that they were coming out with, especially the chemical weapons. And people like that Tolkien calls goblins or orcs. And so it is. I mean, they don't work with their own hands. No, they make these machines to do their work for them, and oftentimes the machines are used to destroy, whether human lives or destroy the land or what have you. This is goblins' work, basically. But anyway, Gandalf, of course, had disappeared at this point. He comes back and he saves them from the goblins, and they run. The dwarves take turns carrying Bilbo, but Dory ends up getting Bilbo, and he gets grabbed by a goblin. Bilbo falls off and hits his head, passes out, and well, he doesn't have, not with Gandalf and the dwarves anymore, as you know, if you've seen the movies or have read the books yourself. But yeah, this is always for me the fun part of the book, when the adventure really starts to get going. The next several chapters until they get to the Lonely Mountain, this is, like I said, I consider this the fun part of the book. Again, still a little written for children in a way. He kind of took some of that out in the revision, and there's going to be more revisions when we read the next chapter, which I might not really go through so many of the revisions, but there is chapter 5 is a little bit different in the original edition than it is here, and I will talk about that a little bit in the next video. But anyway, that is all for chapter 4, and I will be back either later today or tomorrow with the next one. Till then, have a good one.